And let's get into... Oh, I've been avoiding it. But should we just talk about it?
Shall we just do it? Because I'm quite sure chat want to talk about it as well. We've had a few questions about it already. Shall we just do it and get it out of the way?
All right. As a PlayStation gaming podcast, we typically shy away from talking about the other guy. But we are seeing some aggressive moves being shot up for the price of Gamepass. I'm hearing $5 in some cases for people per month. I mean, an extra $60, so that's an extra game they're essentially asking for you. And at this point, I would say my PSA to people is do calculations in your head and really see if this service is worth it to you. How many games, how much time do you spend? It is shocking to see from a company that has announced record high profits, record high performance on the stock market, to then turn around to its consumers and ask for more money. I don't understand the practices and how they can ask for the people to keep supporting them after the fact that they said there wouldn't be a price increase after the ABK deal. But here you are having to pay for another game, Call of Duty, as part of your Game Pass subscription. So, Doragon, that was my rip into it, which won't be as brutal as yours, I was going to say.
I feel for the Xbox gamers right now. We had a very similar thing at the tail end of last year when PlayStation Plus got increased by 20%. I just renewed my PlayStation Plus Premium, and it was £120 this time round rather than the £100 it was this time last year. That hurts. That's an extra amount of money that I've got to find. Otherwise put food on the table for my family for a few days. So, like you said, you've got to sort of look at your finances, at how much you utilize these services on both sides of the fence, not just over there on the green Xbox side, but over here on the blue PlayStation side. And also with the red Switch side, that they're not innocent in all of this either, having raised Nintendo Switch Online prices recently too. And what you're going to find is that we're in a world where an industry of the arts, like video games, like television, like movies, like theaters, the art should come first. That is what brings people through the door. But right now, in the video game industry, it is being run like a corporation. All of it. Everybody is trying to run it like a corporation. We need more growth, we need more money, we need this, that, and we need the other. And while that happens, you're going to see a decrease in the quality of life that you, as the end consumer, will get. So this is increased prices on things. We've seen both sides of the fence raise prices of games this generation to $70 each in US. We have seen both companies raise the price of their consoles by $50 each, up from the $450 up to $500 during this console generation. We have seen both sides of the fence raise their subscription services prices in Xbox's case, in the last 2 years, Game Pass Ultimate has increased by 50%. It is 50% more expensive now than it was 2 years ago, especially in the US. It was like $10.99 and now it's $20. Like that's absolutely ridiculous. That's doubled in price. Whereas here it's gone from £9.99 up to £14.99. That is a 50% increase. It is £5 more expensive than it was 2 years ago when it was £10. Like, these are ridiculous increases in price. All it's going to do to these companies is lower their profit margins further, and they are going to have to then reassess things. What I will say about this one is it's taken a lot of the wind and bravado out of a more toxic vocal section of the Xbox fan base, because they've basically turned around and said PlayStation were right all along. This is not a sustainable business model. we need you to buy the games and then we'll put them on this service 2 to 3 years down the line. I think that is the only positive either side of the fence could take out of this, is that Sony did it right first time in terms of a subscription model, whereas Microsoft have lied for years at this point, and it's so common they're lying about what they're going to do, about how they're going to treat their customers, that you sort of expect it. I saw the news of this price rise, and I wasn't surprised by any of it. Even though Phil Spencer had directly said in interviews that we will not raise the price of Game Pass, he said to courts around the world, to regulatory bodies around the world, we will not raise the price of Game Pass to include Activision Blizzard, and then has gone and done just that. And it wasn't surprising. That's the harshest thing. So I feel for Xbox gamers. They are feeling the pain that we felt back in November, December, when we were told about the PlayStation Plus price rise. I feel that their version of this tiered approach that PlayStation Plus takes is so much worse, because you've got 4 versions of it that all do different things, and 2 of them have got 0 value in them at all. So you've got that Game Pass core now, which I believe is going up to like £7.99 or $7.99 per month, which is what console Game Pass was. But you're only getting 25 games permanently with that. Xbox Live Gold would have already had 27 games in the time that this core has been live. So they've been screwed on that front. They're getting less games for more money. You've then got the PC Game Pass, which is going up to $12.99, which is what Game Pass Ultimate used to be. They're getting everything that Game Pass PC players want. That's still there. It's just more expensive now. There's then this new Game Pass Standard tier, which is what Ultimate cost after that first price rise, so the $14.99, and you do not get day one games. You do not get all of the Xbox studios. You do not get the same game library as Ultimate, and Ultimate gets you everything. And that is the only place that you can get Xbox Cloud Gaming, which earlier this week they just announced was absolutely amazing, because you could now get it on via TV sticks. So I feel for Xbox gamers. I really do. They have been screwed at every single turn this generation. They have been lied to constantly by the guys at the top of the business, and I don't understand how there can be any trust left. I feel for them. I truly do. I wish it weren't the case, but you've got to realize that you're dealing with corporations trying to run the arts, and that's never, ever going to work.
And that's why I think subscriptions are going to hit a buckling point. As you alluded to previously, PC Game Pass is now at the price that Ultimate used to be at. We used to think it was fine to pay $5 to $6 a month. Then they slowly pushed us to, okay, $10 a month for a subscription. Now they're pushing $20 a month as an average subscription price. And honestly, I just feel like it has to break at some point, because the value for what you get over the year cannot be that inclusive at that point. It's starting to hurt.
I saw I saw a post on Threads earlier today from a Kiwi player, someone living in New Zealand. They had a message through to say that it was increasing to like $560 a year. And he said, beg your pardon? Why? Because you're not doing anything other than upping the cost of it. And Sony isn't innocent in all this. 10 years ago, when I first signed up to PlayStation Plus, it cost me £30 for the year. Bear in mind, a week ago actually, I paid for PlayStation Plus and it cost me £120. That's a 10-year increase of £90. Like they're not innocent in this. We can't turn around and say that PlayStation have got this right, that they're doing everything perfectly, that they're better than Xbox, that there's problems on this side of the fence as well as that side of the fence. It's just theirs is a lot fresher and they're hurting a lot more. We've got to... We've just got to be there for them and pick up the pieces when they need us to, I feel, because we gamers are the ones getting screwed on all of these subscription services. There's nobody doing it right now. Nobody.
And PlayStation, I think, is starting to recognize it. That's why they're trying to give you entertainment as well, because they know that as they're raising their price, they have to give you more. And that's why you received, I believe you did it for the 3 movies you get access to, or 3 tokens to get movies on the Sony Core platform. And it's just things like that where they have to look at the table and they have to innovate and provide people more entertainment through, and if it's not gaming, then through their other services as a more all-inclusive service program. I don't know what the fine balance is, but we may... I don't know where subscriptions are going to be in the future, and I think smarter minds than I have not figured this out either.
The problem is these subscriptions are not profitable. The PlayStation 1's not profitable, the Xbox One is not profitable. Even the Nintendo one's not profitable. At £17 a year, it can't be profitable. It's absolutely ridiculous, that one, and especially when it's held together with silly string and duct tape. But they're at market saturation, all of these things. So anybody who's going to have PlayStation Plus already has a PlayStation Plus, and they have got the level of PlayStation Plus they want to have. They're not going to go up, they're not going to go down. They have got exactly what they want from it. Anybody who wants Game Pass already has Game Pass. Anybody who wants GeForce Now already has GeForce Now. Anybody who wants Amazon Luna already has Amazon Luna. Anybody who wants Shadow PC already has Shadow PC. Anybody who wants Nintendo Switch Online already has Nintendo Switch Online. I could keep going with these subscription services because there's Ubisoft Plus, there's EA Access, there's a bunch of others that all cost a stupid amount of money per month that they think that they can squeeze out of us gamers who are already on the breadline. They're at saturation point. And you've got a bunch of people who are just going around in circles, signing up to what they want for a month and then cancelling it to play whatever they want to, because it is a cost-effective way of playing the games that you want to play if you can play them within a month. For the average consumer, for the average gamer, none of them make sense because you end up overpaying for every single game that you play. You're better off just buying them outright. And with these price increases, the consumers are definitely starting to see that. It was easy when it was $10 a month. It's the best deal in gaming, and for $10 a month you could completely believe that, even though you were paying $120 a year 2 years ago. Now in 2024 to 2025, you're paying more than double that for exactly the same as what you had back then. And people are starting to realize that my money's better spent elsewhere. So this saturation point that they're already at, these price increases will diminish. You might end up seeing more revenue, maybe not more profits, but more revenue, because people are spending more on the access that they have. But you're going to see less uptake overall because people are already squeezed to breaking point, considering in that same 2-year period, every bill has increased by over 200% for every person on the planet. It makes no business sense. Small profits, quick returns is how most of these businesses started. It's how they got a big foothold in the industry. And now they just want big profits all the time. There's a lot of miscalculations, I feel, going on. And I feel in short time, we might well see the end of these subscription services, or a drastic overhaul, which seriously diminishes their offering for a lower price, because they're just losing money hand over fist.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to see, but we're along for the ride, and we'll be reporting it the whole way through. As you're probably hearing today, yes, Game Pass has gone up in price, and who knows if PlayStation will be soon to follow. Typically, this is sort of the canary in the coal mine. We could possibly see an increase.
Tends to be the other way around, though, because Sony and PlayStation are the smaller company, a $90 billion company versus a $3 trillion company. You'll see PlayStation's prices increase before Microsoft's. So I think we've already seen that first price rise, but if we see a second, Xbox gamers, Game Pass gamers need to be aware of what's happening, because it'll be hitting them within 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. I think to find that the $19.99 is valuable to you, you have to be a big fan of the games Xbox is publishing. And if that's your jam, then I think that's where you get value if you are looking to beat and play more than 6 of these Xbox published games a year at this point. But it's a balancing act, and everybody will be in charge of their own economics at the end of the day. And
and it's time availability as well. A lot of people are time poor. I know here in the UK, the work-life balance is awful. There are so many people who are working from like 8 a.m. through to 9, 10 p.m. So they don't have the time to get the value out of these services. I don't know what it's like in Canada or the US, but I imagine it's probably worse than even we've got. Whereas you look at somewhere like Australia where they've actually got work-life balance, yeah, it might be worth it to those guys over there, even though their costs are exponentially more than the US's cost. So it's a very difficult one. But like you say, we're all in charge of our own economics. We're all in charge of our own finances. But we all need entertainment as well. And entertainment being priced out of the reach of the general public, we've seen how that works in the past, and it never ends well. So tread carefully, companies.
Yeah, because at this point, Microsoft has said, we're not going to try to pull in outside people by lowering our prices. That's not going to be our strategy, which used to be a solid strategy in the beginning. At this point, they're just looking to make more money off of the people they already have. Or anybody new coming in, they're now about to make more money on these new users. And it's just... I guess that's basically like raising the rent to play games, and it's an odd place to be in as a gamer. It almost makes me feel like I want to take my independence and just buy the games I want to play. Feel better that way. But that's me personally. That each their own.
I totally get it, and I've been a proponent of just buying the games outright anyway. It gives more support to the development houses. It shows through figures to these companies that this is what you actually want. It's all well and good having 20 million players, but if those 20 million players didn't pay a penny extra for playing that game than they did for playing an indie title in the same month, what does that actually mean in terms of a company's survival thing? So I've been a proponent of that for a long time, buying your own game. I've been a proponent of buying it physically anyway, because you then get to keep the game. You can still install that game onto your console, even if you haven't got an internet connection, even if those servers don't exist. But as these get more and more expensive, it's harder and harder to justify them. At $5 a month, Game Pass Ultimate was incredible. At $20 a month, 4 times its original price, it's a bit much to ask, isn't it? So, like you say, we're all in charge of our own economics and finances. We all need to make our own decisions. For me, Game Pass hasn't been worth it for a few years now because it's always been more expensive than PlayStation Plus, but even PlayStation Plus is pushing that not worth it mark. So we'll see. I might very soon have 0 subscription services at all because all of my movie and TV show ones have already gone. I just watch everything on YouTube or certain websites that we can't talk about because I have no financial means to watch everything otherwise. So it's mad. It's just greed. And anybody trying to defend it, you're a corporate apologist, you need to get out and touch grass because this is not acceptable.